And on our podcast show this week, unfortunately, we have broken a very sacred promise to our community. That's right. We don't have a
Oh,
show for you at 12 p.m. On Wednesday every week. If you're watching this video right now, this is
mm,
our humble apology to you from myself and from Winston. We screwed up because it always comes down to the people at the top that mess up. And this mess up started when we partnered, well, really not partnered, we paid for the
we
service
paid. We
with a
paid.
company called Riverside.fm.
Yeah.
So if anyone is to blame for anything that snowballed into
Mm,
this problem, it was a Riverside.fm fail on our part for trusting them over the last
mm.
few months to give us a clean podcast. What was your thoughts on that, Winston?
This is our third try. We were going to give you a fantastic Black Friday show regarding all of the products you can get online with all of the amazing deals, but we tried recording it twice. Full session, 45 to an hour long, but it just didn't work. It would kept on crashing. It wasn't enjoyable. The whole experience of having a podcast is that you could really record, get that kind of flow on the go with the vibe, right? But we just couldn't get that anymore, and it kept on cutting like 10 minutes in, 5 minutes in, we restart. And we know it's not the equipment. I for example have a Intel Core i9 13900K, the latest processor, right, with the latest Z790 chipset by the board, 1 gigabit connection. We got a 4K Sony camera, A6400. We've got the Cam Link, an Elgato, capture card, and we've got this mic, the Shure mic. I mean, come on, all the equipment is like high end, super high end for podcasts, right?
And the
And
irony is that it seems that every single week they blame you for
yeah,
something wrong. Let's go back a sec. They actually started blaming you for having an EVGA XR1 interface.
mm,
I don't know which chipset this uses. It's probably an NVIDIA chipset or some other chipset, but it's a
mm.
capture card that EVGA probably themselves use on their weekly
Yes,
podcast.
exactly.
We had Jacob from
Mm,
EVGA on here, and those guys are pros. They have a studio set up, and even we had problems with their recording session
yeah.
because the cache kept filling up on the Chrome browser. And then they tried to blame your system, saying it might not be powerful enough, Winston. What's going on with your system? And I'm like, the system I'm on is actually 3 years older than your laptop, and your laptop is more powerful than mine. Your desktop is even more powerful.
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel to be blamed like that, Winston?
I'm a hardware reviewer, right? I've been doing this for like 20 years plus. I've switched from my laptop originally. I was working fine, and then suddenly it blamed the hardware and so on. So I moved on to desktop. Come on, desktop. It's more powerful than anything out there. But I don't know. It turns out to be a browser issue. So we updated the Chrome, which that's what we need to
You
do.
even used Edge.
We
You
used
actually
Edge,
used Edge.
and that same problem happened.
Yep.
It's we cleared the cache, we did everything. We enabled a fresh browser with no plugins, no extensions. It just kept on crashing for some reason. I don't know why. There was every time we started recording, there was either you started recording first, then I come in about a second or two later, or
Yeah.
vice versa. So we were out of sync anyway, right away.
Yeah.
So for this recording right now, we're using the same web interface, but we're not hitting the record on their side. We're just using OBS.
Yeah. Because we don't
So
trust them anymore.
we're using basically OBS to capture the screen right now. Okay, the video quality ain't that great because, of course, OBS is a little bit compression because it needs to be streamed live. It's a live platform, right? So it needs to be a little bit of a compression, but still the audio should be fine. And I've used this OBS setup before for my live stream, live building a whole system, and also doing my live stream shows on a Friday. But it takes, you're paying for a service, you're supposed to expect to have that quality or that service provided. They're not delivering, and we have to do the runaround, which is
Yeah.
we're spending
Every week.
every week we spend time to write the rundown, do the scripts, research the content, and we expect to have a smooth show so we can record it within an hour or so. And then because we have our busy lives, you do a lot of
Yeah.
shooting for other projects, video projects, and you do a lot of
Family.
family as well. And our time is precious, and it's
Hmm.
it's just a pain in the ass that we can't get this recording on a platform that is supposed to do what it's supposed to do, being paid for the service, and we're not getting that service. So
Yeah, like to give you a rough estimate of how much effort we put into trying to give you guys a Black Friday
mm,
rundown for Canada. Winston was already researching stuff. He probably spent at least an hour or two online just looking for deals. I spent another hour just kind of looking for a few things for myself to
mm,
kind of add to our rundown. So in total, man hours, it probably took us anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to create a rundown for a show that took us initially about 2 hours to try to record on the first day. That show was bunk. It was completely out of sync and everything. We sent messages to support. They know they screwed up. They were very apologetic, but holy moly, it was such a runaround. And then yesterday we got a copy of the show where the entire tail end was completely out of sync. It was bogus. And that session was actually a whole bunch of fail because we had to keep starting and stopping because on Winston's side, and they like to blame him for some reason, kept running out of browser cache. For some reason, it was just kept crashing. And then once we got that, we knew you needed a show. We wanted to make sure that we kept our promise to you, our community, because that's the only way that we can grow. And then we recorded another show at like 10 o'clock last night. We were so happy that we got 5, 3, 2, 1 as
mm,
a count. We were recording, cuts out at 45 minutes.
yeah.
That's okay. No problem. We just pick it up with a new ending. So I can just tack it on and give you guys a show the next day. Guess what? It stopped recording at 3 minutes and 33 seconds. I was basically talking to myself the entire freaking time.
But it was no warning
That's
message.
absolutely infuriating.
There was no warning message or anything. Because if it was
No warnings.
3 minutes in, we could have just restarted recording again. But it
Yeah.
didn't come up with any message. We didn't know what's going on. And it was only at that 45-minute mark, a message popped up. And I thought, okay, I need to refresh the browser. If I did that, the recording would cut anyway. But not realizing, like you said, 3 minutes in, there was no sound or nothing. And you were just talking to yourself. So
I was talking to myself. It was ridiculous watching that. All that effort, all that time. Probably a total of 8 hours in total, man hours,
just
to
messing
do a
around.
show
Yeah.
that never happened. And now we have a show that's useless
We couldn't
if
do.
we do it now. We
Yeah.
just can't do it. And we just can't give you content that's completely out of date, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
I'm
We're,
sorry.
we're really sorry
I
for that. Yeah.
We're really sorry. So next week, on moving on the positive side, Riverside.fm ate our homework, ate our podcast this week. But next week we're going to have 2 back-to-back podcasts. Isn't that right, Winston?
Yes, right. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about some of the PC, or best of, I should say, end of 2022 coming up,
Yep.
right? So we're going to be a best of PC components, some of the latest graphics card or motherboards and whatever, and some of the gadgets as well. And you're going to be talking about EVs.
Actually, we're going to do the EVs the following week, but we're going to have a follow-up news show because we have some news items that we haven't touched on recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a good opportunity for us to touch on some of the things in the news that we haven't touched on. So we'll have a bit of a roundup of that, of a few topics that, we're passionate about, and hopefully you are too. And of course, anytime that there's
Yeah.
something that you want to see more of, definitely leave a comment below. It's
Mm-hmm.
how we grow. And, thank you so much for your support. We're at over 100 subscribers. I can't believe there's 100 people that love listening to us every week. And we are so sorry. We are sorry that we can't give you a podcast because Riverside.fm ate our homework.
Yeah, that sucks. So we are looking for a new platform. So if any of you guys out there who knows of a better platform for video quality as well as audio, let us know. At the same time, at the moment, we'll have to do a workaround because I can't trust Riverside FM to do the recording. So for our next podcast, it will be very similar. We'll use the platform window right now, as you see right now. We didn't hit the record button on their platform. We can hit the record button on our side on the OBS platform.
Yeah.
We just record that that way. So the audio quality should be okay. Video quality, as you expect, is a live stream service, so it's a little bit compressed, but I think that should be okay for a workaround until we find a better platform. Yeah.
It's ironic. We're probably the model customers, yet they don't really care enough about us to help us solve the issue.
It's
It's like I have to be a Karen or a Ken and
yeah,
talk to the manager to get something done. That's really sad,
yeah.
guys.
It's a Karen. You're a Karen.
Space Karen.
Yeah. So it's very similar to how years ago when the ISP would release a super duper package, right? Yeah, 1 gigabit or whatever, super fast speeds, and they only had limited amount of resources for those. So in other words, maybe if you have like 100 spaces, if those 100 spaces all signed up, then the other people on the lower tiers suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
probably that's what happened because when we initially started, the recording was okay for a
Hmm.
good like maybe 10 to 11 podcasts, but
It was great
afterwards,
in the beginning.
uh, we started getting issues, syncing issues. We started getting. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people then decided to join or subscribe to a Riverside, and their platform starting to suffer because they can't handle the traffic. Like very similar to a
Yeah.
website where if the websites grow and you're on a lower tier web service and suddenly you get like a problem with people joining in and taking up a lot of resources. So that's what happens,
Yeah.
I think.
Like a
Yeah.
cable modem neighborhood where the one guy sucks down all of the LimeWire or the Napster
Yeah.
bandwidth.
Stephen, I'm starting to get flickers right now. So, right, we're gonna have to end the podcast, but do look click on the links below because we've got some Black Friday deals. So there's some links there. Go ahead and check that out.
All right. So until then, we are so sorry about this week. We'll see you next week with 2 back-to-back shows, Wednesday and probably Thursday. So hang in there with us. We so appreciate you guys. Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye bye.